Eastern Asia was made up of the following empires, all of which served as crucial components to the sustainability of the Silk Road. First is the Sui dynasty, from 589 to 618. This empire came after the Han dynasty, and civil wars were first fought in it for over a 350-year time period. In 589, under the unification of Yangjian, the empire finally began. During this civilization, many granaries and places were made, as well as imperial expansions. The Great Wall and the Great Canal were also constructed. There were extensive trade networks, equal field system, bureaucracy, and foreign trade allies all combined created a well-working empire. However, over time, high taxes and many labor services caused civil and hostile conflict within the empire. Many failed rebellions were attempted in Korea, and in 610, many rebellions started to occur. In 618, their leader, Sui Yongdi, was assassinated and the empire ended. A rebel leader took over China and started a new empire. Tang Taizong, the second leader, who was known for his ruthless and hostile ruling, created an era of revenue and stability. Eventually, due to a lack of care in terms of leadership, the empire started to decline. In 755, the An-Dushan rebellion gargantuanly weakened the empire. Uyghurs came into power, and equal field system failed, and the large rebellion conducted by Huang Shao in 875 to 884 greatly weakened the empire as well. People and military came to an immense amount of power and overruled the emperor, and in 907, the Tang dynasty ended. And now for the Tang dynasty, 618 to 997. The Tang dynasty had begun when a rebel leader took over China and started a new empire. Tang Taizong, the second leader, who was known for his ruthless and hostile ruling, created an era full of revenue and stability. Within this dynasty, there were extensive trade networks, equal field system, bureaucracy, and foreign trade. Wait, is this the same thing? Okay, no, it's not. All combined created a well-working empire. Additionally, this empire went by the theory that they were the center or middle of the kingdom and should be respected by all other empires. Many tributes were paid to the government by all foreign countries, and eventually, due to lack of care in terms of leadership, the empire started to decline. In 755, the An-Dushan rebellion gargantuanly weakened the empire. Uyghurs came into power, equal field system failed, and large rebellion conducted by Huang Chao greatly weakened the empire as well. To end the empire, people and military came to an immense amount of power and overruled the emperor, and in 907, the Tang dynasty ended. And then the Song dynasty, from 960 to 1279 AD. In 960, Song Taizu founded this empire and ruled until 976. There was a vast amount of problems in this new empire, such as financial, bureaucracy, and the higher paid overtook the lower classes. For example, the people in power controlled the military and ended up abusing their power. External forces such as the nomadic Khitan and Jurchen pressured the empire greatly. The Song thereafter moved their empire into southern China until 1279 AD. The first inhabitants of this area were nomadic people, and then were ruled by several states in the next few hundred years. One group of people were inspired by the Tangs and started to take over other clans. They built a capital in Nara thereafter and adopted Buddhism and Confucianism. They gave birth to the Hedan Empire 794 to 1185. Heian was made of the capital in 794. And now for ancient Japan. The first inhabitants were nomadic people, and then were ruled by several states in the next few hundred years. However, one group of people were inspired by the Tangs and started to take over other clans. They built a capital at Nara, and thereafter adopted Buddhism and Confucianism. Thereafter came the Hedan Empire, when Heian was made the capital in 794. Japanese empires were considered figures of power and great religious influence. However, they did not actually sustain ruling power. Additionally, schooling and political views were heavily influenced by the Chinese. Unfortunately, it started to fall when agricultural systems started to fail, as well as the wealthy starting to take over society, and Taira and Minamoto, which were two very powerful groups, caused civil conflict. Connections to the Silk Road. China was the main producer of silk and spices, and with being the main producer came the problem of transportation. The solution of southern China's Silk Route, which got its name from being centered around the South China Sea, this route was an important component for China's trade with the outside world, and became extremely popular during the Three Kingdoms period. Before the Sui dynasty, the maritime Silk Road was the main route used when trading with China since the overland Silk Road. However, during the Sui and Tang dynasties, due to civil wars occurring on land, the maritime trade route became the main route used for trading with China. As a result, towards the end of the Tang and Song dynasties, shipbuilding and navigation started to advance due to frequent oversea trading. The compass and new sea lanes were invented, thus permitting more opportunities to trade with other continents. Additionally, since silk was the essential product for trade, ways of silk reeling, spinning, techniques of raising silkworms spread throughout Korea and sped up silk production. These techniques were spread through Korea were heard of in other civilizations, and eventually these techniques were well known all across the world. This was important because silk production was extremely important, and more knowledge about it, the more silk was produced, thus allowing for more trade to occur. Also, many inventions were spread around the Silk Road, such as paper making. When the Tang dynasty was at war with the Arabian city, the prisoners were captured around the Silk Road were extremely familiar with the art of paper making, as it was invented and popularized in their civilization, thus introducing paper making to other cultures while imprisoned. Other advancements, such as gunpowder and mobile printing, were spread through Chinese trade. These are important contributions to the world because gunpowder allowed for guns to operate faster and with more efficiency, and paper printing allowed all occupations requiring paper to be completed faster. However, despite the large amounts of benefits of the Silk Road provided for various civilizations, due to many conflicts between civilizations, the Silk Road had been closed for a period of time. In 639, the Tang dynasty had successfully defeated the West and reopened the Silk Road. Thereafter, the Silk Road had been closed a few more times. However, it had been the Tang dynasty that reopened it all. All in all, the large amount of the contributions made by Eastern Asia still had a great impact on the Silk Road. This is important because China's development was crucial to the Silk Road. China at the time was the only producer of silk, and when you have something that no one else has, it sparks interest in surrounding areas. This interest is what sparked the idea for the Silk Road and gave it its name. And due to wars constantly happening in China, exports such as papermaking were important to the arts. Additionally, gunpowder got the interest of other countries for even more military power than they already have. Now think if one of these had never even been made or ever even been considered for trade or export. China's vast influence of the Silk Road may have never even existed. We see more influences in the beginning of the story when the Sui and Tang dynasties. When they were at war at the water-based area of the Silk Road, also known as the Maritime Silk Road, the idea that China is the driving force is shown true in 639 when the Tang dynasty was at war. The entire Silk Road lost a lot of momentum and was basically closed, and it was always the Tang dynasty who came in to reopen it. The result of the Chinese during the Silk Road include silk, arts, gunpowder, and the influence of whether or not the Silk Road could even function. This is why China is so important. If any other country had not been involved in the Silk Road, then it may still exist. However, if China were to stop existing, then the whole Silk Road could never even exist.